Hi, this is Jurgen Rasmussen. Welcome to the Provocative Hypnosis blog. Today I have two tips for you to get more responsive clients. More responsive clients in your sessions. The first tip is when you ask questions of a client, ask questions with the intent to evoke a nonverbal response. Meaning, have an intent to ask questions to evoke a state, to evoke an experience. You see, usually in social conversations, we ask questions just to exchange ideas and to essentially babble and to connect over that babble, right? But when you're doing change work, you want to ask questions not so much to get a verbal answer or a story, but to evoke a response. So this requires you to slow down, to be grounded, and to have that clear intent. The second thing is, when your client speaks, you only want the client to speak from experience. You don't want clients to speak or talk about experience. You want them to speak from experience. So what's the difference? Well, if someone's talking about experience, they're babbling, they're justifying, they're rationalizing, they're into their tired old stories, they're abstracting about experience. When someone is speaking from experience, you can see that embodied connection. You can see that they're actually in a state that is connected to the verbal utterances that they are spouting. So these two tips. Ask questions with the intent to evoke a state, a nonverbal response, more than a verbal answer, and make sure that when clients speak, that they speak from experience, not about experience. If you have a client who's talking about experience, it's like trying to operate a computer without an internet connection, right? You need access, you need connection to actually generate change. So the person has to be connected to the state that the verbal utterances seem to be pointing to. Now, to be able to do this, you also need a framework that makes it more likely for people to respond in this way. So one thing I usually tell my clients when they come in is I tell them, look, let me give you an idea of how these sessions usually work. I usually start off by asking some questions, and I say to clients, do your best to actually answer them. Now, this may sound weird, but a lot of times people are used to telling a story. They're used to abstracting and used to theorizing. If people do that, I have a tendency to interrupt them and to kind of reel them, hook them back in. I don't do that because I lack compassion. I do that because the storytelling and the abstractions get in the way. Is that okay? This is what I say to clients. Is that okay? Once you get a yes to that, you have, in most cases, circumvented the whole babble machine, the whole storyteller. I also use the frame that, look, the work we do together is based upon the premise that it's not the historical facts of your life or your life situation per se that's creating your experience. It's more your own meaning making, your own interpretations, your own value judgments, your own perceptions, your own thought-generated experience around these things. Therefore, all the experiments that we do and all the questions I ask kind of revolve around that, because that's the only thing we can really change anyways. And then after the questions, we'll do some thought experiments. So play with this. These are very subtle nuances, but if you apply them, your change work will get better. One of the obstacles I very often see when I teach people in seminars is that people treat change work conversations the same way as they treat social situations. But a social conversation with just regular, bantering back and forth is a very different context than a change work conversation. So you want to mark out a change work conversation as something different. They're designed to evoke states, to evoke shifts. They're designed to be a context where people can have insights and where they can reorganize their own experience. If my ideas resonate with you, know that I see clients all the time from all over the world on Skype. I offer mentoring for people who are serious about doing quality work. And I've got some seminars coming up, one in London in May, the other in Berlin in June. If this stuff interests you, go to provocativehypnosis.com and check the information out. Okay, till next time.